Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today we have an awesome topic. We're going to talk about two different ways we can cut our CPA inside our Meta Ads account. Here to cover the topic, we have Chandan. Chandan is one of our senior growth strategists here at Carbon Box Media. Chandan, before we jump into the topic, give a brief introduction about yourself.
All right, Brendan. First of all, thanks for the invite to the video, and for everyone watching this video, my name is Chandan, and I've been a media buyer for almost like 10 years now. I've managed multiple ad accounts, multiple niches, more than $1 million of ad spend, and I've been doing this basically for a very long time, and what I love the most about Meta ads in general is to just deep dive into data and understand how to make different niches work or solve different problems essentially.
Awesome, man. And one thing I'll add is he's done it for 10 years and he's done it very well for 10 years. That's important. Some people do this stuff and they're not good. Chandan is very good at his job.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sweet. Okay, so let's jump in, man. Let's talk about the different ways to cut CPA inside the Meta Ads account.
So if you look at the latest algorithm update, which is Andromeda, and after that, Brandon, really there are just two essential ways that you can cut down your CPA. The first one is, let's say you've got a lot of good creatives in your ad account, but they are just everywhere, different campaigns, different ad sets. You're 100% going to experience a lot of budget distributions, segmentation. So the first effective method of cutting down your CPA really starts there. Size down all of your campaigns, all of your ad sets to just 3 to 4 campaigns at the most. You want to have one campaign essentially for testing your new creatives and another campaign just for scaling them, and maybe a third campaign if you're testing something, locations, landing pages, or anything else. If you size down your ad account to just 3 of these campaigns, they could be highest volume, they could be cost caps. If you size them down and then use the CBO, give more control to Meta, that's how you would effectively start reducing your CPA. That's the number one effective method. Let's come to the second one. The second one lies all in the creatives. If you're using a bunch of creatives and let's say none of those creatives are working, then definitely you're doing something wrong, and you got to be testing more and more creatives. You have to look at your competition, what kind of ads they are running. So once you figure out what kind of creatives work for you, what sort of hook, what sort of body, what sort of call to action works for you, take those creatives, make more variations of those, and that will effectively reduce your CPA. So after Andromeda, there's really just these two methods, which are solid methods to reduce your CPA. No other, essential like hacks or tactics is going to work to effectively reduce your CPA. All of the audience testing days or different ad account structure days, those are all like, gone. Like very much in 2024, that was the end of it. But in 2025 and especially in 2026, if you want to be doing, lesser CPA for your business and running ads effectively, these are the two essential methods.
Awesome, man. That was a great breakdown. Is it possible to kind of show us an ad account where this is properly done, just so the audience can kind of get an idea of how that breakdown actually looks like in practice?
Absolutely. I would love to. So, all right, guys. So what I have here on the screen is one of our clients in Carbon Box Media, and this client has been with us for almost 8 months now. And what we have been doing for this client from the very start is consolidation and identifying creative patterns that really work for this client. So when I say consolidation, when I was saying in the tips that you need to size down all of your campaigns into 3 effective campaigns, and as you can see, I've got one for creative testing. There's one for cost cap, and this cost cap is winners only. And this essentially means that any creative that becomes a legacy creative, which basically means that they have spent more than $3,000 and have gotten us at least 30 to 40 purchases. We start to call them legacy creatives, and we take those ads and put them inside this campaign so they can be evergreen campaigns. And this one is to also focus on scaling these other winning creatives that we've had, that we've run for a very long time. So this is more of a substitute campaign where we also test sometimes different landing pages or any kind of experiments other than creatives that we want to run. Now let's go to the second tip that I was saying, identifying your creatives. And you will quickly notice I will go to the ads and I'll sort this by amount spent, and I'll show you guys exactly what I'm talking about utilizing variations of your winning ads, or first identifying winning ads. Now, if you look at this creative, the video VC5V4 New Year, this creative has been working for us for a very long time, longer than 30 days. We were using this creative back, when October of 2025. We used it through Black Friday, we used it through the Christmas sale, and it stood tall, it stood strong, and this has been performing great ever since. So the obvious thing to do over here was to take this creative and create more variations of it. Now, before I make more variations of it, the first thing that I would do is I would break down this entire creative literally every 5 seconds and understand what did we do in this creative. So the first one starts by, let's say, a person looking into the camera, and if you see the hook that we're using, it says not every student pilot needs an $800 headset. So the reason why this creative could be working, let me say that, right? It's not definite. Again, we're making all hypotheses right here. So one of the things that one of the reasons that this creative could be working is because we are saying out loud the biggest problem of students, that they don't need $800 headset. Now, we identified this as one of the reasons that this creative could be working, and what we did is we went ahead and created almost 3 different ads for the exact same angle, but we changed the visuals, we changed the copy a little bit, right? So essentially, all of these ads in some way or the other are saying exactly the same thing. And if you see, this is the original ad, the first one. Now let me go to the second ad. We're saying you don't need an $800 headset, but we changed the visual on it, right? That was the only variation. Now, if you check the third ad, we did the exact same thing, and we switched the person that's being shown on the ad creative, right? We just changed the girl whose footage we used, and it's the exact same thing with a slightly different copy, and you can see how all of these 3 variations have performed. One of it is giving us 16 purchases already, 3.54. Another one is giving 11 purchases at 3.81, and finally the third variation is giving us 5.57 ROAS with 9 purchases so far, right? And this is definitely at a much lower CPA than even the original ad. So we've managed to effectively reduce 15 to 20% of the CPA from the original creative, which was already profitable. Now this creative is making the client insanely more profitable. And we're going to be repeating this exact same exercise at least twice a month to get more and more creatives that are based on the original winning angle. And then we're just going to double down on these creatives until we juice them out completely. But here's the kicker. We've been doing this for the last 4 months, and we haven't still juiced out the exact same angle. This entire ad account is profitable month on month on this exact same ad angle that just says that students don't need $800 headset. And we've been saying the same thing in different formats, in different ways with different visuals, and it works every time. So this ad account is a great example of how you could have explosive performance if A, you consolidated your entire ad account, and secondly, you start focusing on finding your winner and then double down on that winner by creating a ton of variations, by changing literally the smallest part of your ad.
Chandan, that was a great breakdown. One thing I think is just so cool is that, like, it sounds like there's a compounding effect, right? Like, as you
Yeah,
test more things, you find more winners, and you're able to basically harvest those into
yeah,
like your winning campaign, and you just rinse and repeat. And then obviously, like, the more wins you have, the more you're going to scale. So that's really cool.
yeah.
Okay, I really like that, man. Do you have any other advice or tips you want to include before we wrap up here?
The only advice that I would want to give before we wrap up is if you're someone whose ad account is being run on highest volume only, and you're finding it impossible to scale on the highest volume, my biggest advice to you guys would be to start using manual bidding campaigns. I know they can be too technical, they could be a little scary because they can sometimes overspend, but create your first manual bidding campaign with the best of your ads, with the with the winners that have been battle tested on your ad accounts, and you will not go wrong with manual bidding at all. We have accounts where we are running only manual bidding, only cost caps on the top of the funnel, the middle, and the bottom. So don't be afraid to test cost caps. They are really effective in 2026, and it doesn't take a lot to get started.
Sweet, man. Awesome. Okay. Well, I'll finish up by saying thank you to the viewer for watching this. Thank you, Chandan, for being here. If you're somebody who is struggling with meta ads, you need help, um, we are a highly qualified team, and we're happy we're happy to help you. So there is a link below. So click that, book a call with us, and we'll be happy to assist you with your digital marketing. But on that note, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, like, and we'll see you in the next video.
Thank you guys for listening to us, and we'll keep bringing you amazing winning ads and formulas in videos next week again.